a break, it's a mini episode.
Hello and welcome to another episode of You Gotta Check This Out with Mike and Dre. I'm the Mike, and today we're bringing you a series of outtakes from the Hunter-Prey episode with Taylor Anthony. We had so many tangents, we decided to keep the main episode focused and corralled most of the nonsense right here. In turn, we'll cover Mr. Freeze, Space Mayo Quality, Sheridan's Dad Energy, Kosh as a Drifter Hobo, Weaves in Space, and a whole lot more. We first drop in with Dre as he pontificates on what really matters here.
We did the Geometry of Shadows, which incidentally had an actor who played in both Deep Space Nine, who played in Babylon 5, and was the Mr. Freeze villain in Batman the Animated Series. So, Mike, we have a interesting Mike streak going in season 2 of Babylon 5. Last episode, Michael Ansara, prolific actor, for a great career, but that's not what we care about here. What we care about on You Gotta Check This Out is he was in Babylon 5, Deep Space Nine, and Batman the Animated Series as Mr. Freeze. And spoiler alert, on this upcoming episode that we are about to discuss, we do in fact have an actor who was on Babylon 5 and Batman, but woof, missed Deep Space Nine somehow, and we'll talk about him when we get there. We're in the midst of season 2. A bunch has been going on. I'm going to do the Ask Our Guest a Question. So as Mike mentioned, premise of the show is Ideal World. Ideal World is you haven't seen the show. We understand that some guests are going to have seen the show. Some guests intentionally have seen the show. But part of the pitch when we were pitching the shows, are there guests that are good sci-fi fantasy fans that haven't? You mentioned you hadn't seen it, so I'm curious, did Hunter-Prey encourage you to watch any more Babylon 5 when you were done?
Oh, it would have had I not spoiled it for myself and realized that the two outstanding favorite actors on this episode doing the most are not featured in any other episodes, which is kind of astounding to me. That's, of course, Richard Mall's character. And then Sarah, the woman who was apparently transported out of a Cary Grant movie right into early 90s television
Thank you.
show.
That's so a good point that you brought up about some of the writing and some of the other stuff is this was all written by J. Michael Straczynski, JMS. Previous episodes of the show, we talk him a ton. Part of that's good because he was able to control the whole arc. Part of that is one voice, one writer, and you can very clearly see in some cases his dialogue is very good. In other case, again, I'm going to keep coming back. I'm going to keep saying, do you want mayo on that this entire show? So I'm warning all of you ahead of time.
That was so funny.
Such a
we
hot
have
take.
mayo still?
But I think, well, it's interesting. I think we would in the future, but then of course in space you probably wouldn't have eggs. So yeah, this is
that was my first concern. Oil, that's fine. Eggs? I mean, garlic?
Probably not. Well, they do a lot of smuggling on this show, so who knows what they're pulling into on some of those ports. I mean, it could be all the alien animals, any different kind of eggs on there. I mean, it might not be exactly mayo, but it's kind
Close
of mayo.
approximation.
Yeah, so we do have a bunch going on there in terms of just, everything going on in the future. Do we like it, et cetera? But one person writing it, and it was on a shoestring budget. That is the real big thing, is that this was actually previous episode. I'm going to keep plugging the back catalog, Mike, as you know, but
you're pro at that.
Inside jokes to another podcast. That's exactly what you want on any new podcast, right? But in that, it was shoestring budget because he pitched this to Star Trek, and Star Trek went ahead with his script, went ahead with the Bible, and he made it on his own. And if you listen to JMS on the DVD commentaries, the way we recommend people watch this now is go to your local library. The old DVDs are the best. You can find this. The DVDs are either cheap on eBay. I believe it's...
Jaina just let us know for sure it's on Tubi.
It is.
So I've been able to find out some old ones.
I saw a total of 4 prescription drug commercials at one point. It's in the middle of my notes.
That's what it's supposed to be like, but the fact that it followed "you want mayo on that" is where I'm just like, what is going on here? And that line is living red through my
mayo.
That was a first pass of a dialogue exchange for sure. And again, that is sort of my pet peeve with series like this, where it feels like there's been so much work put into like the politics side of things that were like, oh, we can leave the dialogue to last. Like,
Yeah, there's so many first draft lines it feels like, okay, we'll figure out something better they can say instead of mayo to that later.
and then on the day we just get too busy and no, just the mail way, it's fine. It's really not that bad.
We'll just
I mean, I
leave
don't
it,
think it's
Although here's the defense, right? When you have shows, think like Friends, where everybody is just super clever and snap, 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 snap. He's a, Sheridan is a career military guy. He definitely exudes the dad energy. So it's like, he doesn't have to be clever all the time. That's my subtle defense, but it did.
He's just canonically unfunny.
That does definitely track. Okay, next scene. Something.
Oh my God.
Next seasoning. Next seasoning
on Babylon
Ghirardelli.
5.
On Ghirardelli.
I loved the reaction of, no, I'm not going to sell you this illegal thing because he wanted too bad, because that is 100% how I thought every we deal would ever go in my life. Like I was going to, I never did, but I'm such a goody two shoes, I feel like they would smell it on me. They'd be like, no, you can't have any.
Not you.
Yeah, you can't have this illegal substance. Other people can.
This feels like another smuggling plot, because something we keep talking about here is there's so much smuggling going on in B5. It started out as JMS wanted to do a smuggling show. I was just wondering, because there's so much smugglers, what kind of stuff are we smuggling all the time onto B5? I know we talked a little bit about foods they have coming in, but there's got to be so many undocumented alien pets, food, collectible cars, just bees. Just imagine all the bees that people are trying to sneak in there for nefarious bee purposes.
Well, we know there's no hats. There's no options as far as hats go in there.
Well, Garibaldi takes all of them for his cosplay.
Yeah, not too many good costume changes. Garibaldi, he's got a whole closet hidden somewhere on the station where he just goes in and he's, who am I today, fellas?
Last episode, he pretended to be a door-to-door salesman on a whim. I mean, the guy is just getting into, he's just feeling himself, that Ghirardelli.
Oh, man, amazing.
Ghirardelli. Michael and the Ghirardellis. Oh. I really enjoyed what Taylor was bringing up about how, compared to the utopia of Star Trek, Babylon 5 it goes more into the down below, the people of society who haven't been in the utopia. They don't have the replicators there or anything, so they don't have to get into those issues of scarcity. And what you were just saying, Dre, was about the shoestring budget they have. It almost perfectly mimics that. So Babylon 5 is almost set up to be that kind of show and to really go into it. Yeah, it's not that. I wish you would have been able to see kind of a few more episodes that dive deeper into that, Taylor.
Maybe I will.
I like your point, Mike, that it does do that. And there are some arguments that we've started having on the show about, do some of these things that stick out weirdly, do they actually make sense in you're on a space station with all of these things going on. Does it make sense that our heroes, I can't wait, I'm going to spoil the episode before we get to it, that our heroes, their disguise is a lame hat, because it's like, you're on a space station. You don't have a replicator to make any outfit you want. That's your only disguise. And yeah, but the shoestring point.
Oh, I hate that you justified the hat, because I was ready to rip into it.
Oh, we had better, but we'll see if it will. But we have started on the show thanks to guests coming up with their.
There is a lot coming up about that hat. Don't worry, that's going to come in back in this episode. Yeah, I think several of these episodes, what I kept noticing is that something that Taylor did bring up earlier, the captain got replaced halfway between season 1 and season 2. It's pretty noticeable if you go look back in Babylon 5 history. And I think part of what that had made JMS had to do for this crop of episodes for the first half of season 2 was almost reestablish a world building section, because he had to have several episodes that was just, all right, Sheridan's the lead character now. We have to establish him as this brash cat kind of captain that wants to be a Picard, but keeps getting pulled in the opposite direction for a Shatner type.
How was that different from the first season's captain?
The first season's captain always came across as more kind of stoic and very, very diplomatic on everything. But he had this kind of streak where he liked to walk around sucker punching people randomly on the ship. It was a mix of tones.
A balance,
Yeah, it's like the Force for Babylon 5. Sometimes you suck a punch, sometimes you're diplomatic.
Well, what I do like when you're asking about the difference between the two captains, it is really fascinating. And I'm curious if this will be the show you explain it, Mike, or if it'll be a future one where you have your Picard Shatner index comparing the captains. Because in season 1, we have Michael O'Hare playing Jeffrey Sinclair, who is supposed to be more wise and thoughtful as a captain. But again, as Mike is noticing, like every episode, he's just, give me a gun, I'm going to go in guns blazing. And that doesn't seem very zen. We're introduced to Sheridan. This episode is a good example, as we discovered, where he shouts a lot. He's like almost like a chihuahua that barks a lot. But I'm glad that landed. But then when you watch what he does, it's very tame and muted, right? He doesn't directly confront. He's go look over there and then does things calmly. So it's very funny where kind of in lore, in universe for fans, Sheridan is portrayed as the more guns blazing, gung ho captain. Sinclair is more of the thoughtful, but when you actually kind of analyze their actions, Sheridan is really more thoughtful. And I thought this was actually a good episode to kind of show that.
I think that it's also apropos that this was the Return of the Lightning Suck-a-Punch episode.
I did. That was I will say that. Yeah, you have the Psy-Corps brings people back from the dead and gives them lightning powers to be like Manchurian Candidate assassins, which is, as I'm replaying that sounds a lot cooler because there are, I think on paper, some of these ideas are cool. Like Taylor, you were mentioning this, like the thought behind it and where we've come for now. So if you watch, you're the second person on this show to bring up the Foundation. And I think I've seen clips and it looks amazing, right? And you look at Babylon 5 and you read the ideas on paper and you're like, I'm sure this looks amazing, right? And you watch the episode and you're like, okay, Manchurian Candidate zombie electric being sounds really cool. What they could do with the special effects didn't quite live up to that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, especially a lot of those season 1 interstitials with the early CGI space that they were just developing that technology. It's kind of interesting to go back and see it. It looks like a lot of early CGI cartoons from that day too.
And especially that sort of effect, I mean, is typically, at least at the time, was saved for bigger budget films, right? So even having that in TV at all was kind of sick.
How did that age for you, seeing it for the first time? Because I mean, me and Mike have nostalgia glasses, but Taylor, first time, how good, bad did it age in the midst of, Tubi also playing prescription drug ads in the middle of it?
Oh my gosh. The ship, the effects in general sort of and the interaction between the actor and the effect, where it's just like, you're looking at it, and then we're going to do like the 1-2 shot, right? But it felt a lot like I love those old Phantasmagoria. And then there was another one about Jack the Ripper, which featured Christopher Walken. But like the old computer games that, like, I forget what the term is for them. But they would have like real filmed video.
Okay, is this one too old? Or yeah, because as you mentioned, me and Mike are a little older. In Red Alert 2, they actually had Tim Curry as like a Russian general that kept those exact things, those cut to video in the midst of games where the game graphics are horrible, but then randomly you get a clip with real actors against a green screen.
Yes, and the one that I was exactly the PC games at the time. One of them is literally, and this is an aside, but it's called Ripper, and the cast is absolutely stacked. It's got Christopher Walken, Paul Giamatti, Karen Allen from the first Indiana Jones movie, John Rhys Davies.
Burgess Meredith, keeping our Batman connection up, got the original Penguin. Oh my, this feels made up. This feels, I want to think that before this episode, you spent a bunch of time making up a fake Wikipedia article. Seriously, though, Ripper,
no, I can vouch. I've definitely heard of this before.
It is incredible.
Sweet.
This is
if you can just sit, maybe enjoy an adult beverage or an adult snack and watch a playthrough of it. It's fantastic.
And as a Lord of the Rings kind of thing, it's really weird that John Rhys Davies' character is named Vigo. This would have been before Lord of the Rings, right?
Way before it, yeah.
All right, that's 5 years. Yeah, maybe it's calling it. All right,
Paul Giamatti on this thing. Jeez.
Back to the boring show that's the premise of this. Right. Instead of just hijacking Mike, and I'm like, actually, we're talking Ripper for the rest of the episode. All right.
Dre, can't we get back over to playing the Ripper?
Yeah.
Next episode, The Coming of Shadows, Hugo Award winning. One of the key things to note is back in the day in the 90s, JMS was huge on the internet, huge in user groups, and the Hugo Awards required fan votes. season 1, they didn't get a Hugo nomination because the fans said the entire season is great. So season 2, they consolidated, and they universally agree that The Coming of Shadows was the best this season had to offer. It was an episode Mike suggested for us to go over for this show. And again, to defend myself.
What was your thought process, Dre? That was a really good episode with all kinds of good stuff happened.
Hunter Prey has Richard Mole dressed as Blade, and that's all I got to say.
Taylor, boo this man. Boo. Boo.
It's too much work, Mike, although maybe I will. I can rewind this episode and point out that, Taylor, you yourself noted that your biggest regret from this episode, not the episode itself, is that your 2 favorite characters don't stick around.
He truly is the absolute one of the best parts. And I was trying to figure out where I know the actor from. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he does a fantastic turn in the movie But I'm a Cheerleader with Natasha Lyonne. Oh, yes. God, he is so good in that film.
Is he like he's somebody who's helping them out? I haven't seen that since in the 90s, since it was first out.
Yeah, so it's about a gay conversion camp, and there's a gay couple, Richard Mole and another actor, its name escapes me, but they're a couple who help expose these kids who have been sent to conversion camp. No, you can actually be yourselves and live out and be gay and proud. And it's fantastic because he plays it completely straight. He is not playing it as a joke. He's not comic relief. He is just a guy. You feel that he has a lot of like tension and trauma a bit in his performance. He looks like somebody who might be like post-military or something. He does so much with so little in the film. So it was such a delight to see him here.
I absolutely love that movie. Again, yeah, Richard Mole. I was huge on him from Night Court, and then I'm like, oh, he's in Batman. He is fantastic in everything, and passed too soon. And it did sound like he kind of got fed up with the industry, which is more than fine. And then tying things together too, the amazing Natasha Lyonne, who shows up in Fantastic Four. So yes, check out. We might be burying the end of the show where we usually tell people what to check out. We already have some great things. The Trevor Project and But I'm a Cheerleader are 2 things I would say you have to check out. And
actually, a quick check out. I think today, one of my favorite YouTube content creators, Matt Baum, as in money, he releases a series of videos about LGBTQ representation in media, specifically sitcoms. And I looked, there was no Babylon 5 episode, so I was a little bit disappointed, but he does have an absolutely fabulous Star Trek episode that made me cry. And literally today, I think earlier today, he released a retrospective on But I'm a Cheerleader.
That's 2 years ago. That is amazing. And I will say, after this show, I'm going to put on my list to ping because sorry to stay in the weeds, but it's fine. This is what we planned this, just to be aware, Taylor. Like ahead of the show, me and Mike were like,
good. I feel bad. I'm like, I am a tangent girly.
No, tangents go with the territory.
Yeah,
it's a podcast, right? Exactly.
I'm going to disappear into the shadows. I'm like, but amazing thing about Babylon 5 is that Talia Winters, there was supposed to be a lesbian subplot with her and Captain Ivanova, or Commander Ivanova, right? Commander Ivanova. And ostensibly what happened was clearly right at the time, there was a level they could get away with. So there were things that were obvious. One of her last scenes in the show, sorry, spoilers for people that were expecting Talia to stick around. As you know how much me and Mike love her performances in the show, she's like waking up in bed in Susan's room. So it was really fascinating because there was this huge potential for an amazing arc that just didn't get fleshed out in combination because obviously the studios, what they would allow, and then the actress left. So that was it there for an episode. Like she woke up in the bed next to her, but they just didn't explain it. Or so it was like, that was from the cutting room.
They're just best friends, you guys. Yeah. They're just really good friends.
They're really good friends.
They were roommates.
Yeah, that's 100%. So, okay, glad we got that. And the good thing is these next couple of episodes.
So before we get into that, we did miss something on episode 30. That is the beginnings of some love affair going on between Sheridan and Delenn. They had that dinner in that episode as a B plot.
Oh yeah,
they started seeding the relationship that early.
Okay, that is actually useful because that does kind of come to fruition at the end here, which is, oh my God, there is so much to throw at someone new to the show. So Delenn is Minbari. They have boneheads. Delenn has gone through a process where she went to chrysalis. She came out and looked partially human. She has hair. Normally Minbari do not. And there is going to be a love plot between her and Sheridan, or as I argue, Mike, a love triangle between her, Sheridan, and Kosh. And Mike,
I thought you were going to say a love triangle between her, Sheridan, and a triangle on her forehead that sometimes shines out.
That's why the triangle is on the forehead.
That's the triangle. That's it.
If you wind up in a love triangle, a triangle shows up on your forehead again. Callbacks to previous episodes.
Oh my gosh, the ship was hilarious. I didn't mind the CGI. It's fine. It's of the time, and it wasn't meant to look realistic. It was meant to look like alien technology. So I feel like there is a lot of leniency there. The color is horrendous. The choice of this camouflage skin is so upsetting. I don't know why they went with it. And then the design of Kosh as well. You can absolutely, like when you said this is on a shoestring budget, you can tell. Because this man, I think he's supposed to have been hiding, but they don't have a space, it seems, for him to actually fit in. So we have him just stepping forward and then stepping back to his initial mark, never actually going anywhere. It's just, you caught him just as he left. And then it's fantastic. It's a sort of shoestring direction that I adore. Love-hate relationship with old shows like that. It's so funny.
Well, he's just like out in the open too. Like it's so well lit. He's right there.
He's
it's just like,
so well lit.
And there's Kosh over there in the corner.
Physically unable to ever camouflage himself. Like he's never going to look like a coat rack. Like you're never going to put a trench coat over him and sneak him in the movies.
Yeah, I went through this fever dream and put him as a picture with a guitar as a space drifting hobo in the corner because I couldn't get that out of my mind as Kosh is just this guy. Yeah, there's just Kosh over there. He's trying to sing us these songs. He doesn't really know the words, but he's harmless.
And meanwhile, his character design looks like if GLaDOS and the alien from Aliens, the xenomorph, had a baby. Like we've got the GLaDOS sort of like face with like just tiny little tentacles, just like ever so slightly peeking out.
Oh, I know. That's not even his face, too, because the whole thing is a containment suit. Yeah, it looks so much like a face, but that's an environment suit so that the alien inside can live. So those are all choices made aesthetically on the outside.
Wow. Again, do they have eyes and a sense of color?
Dre, I mean, you're our inside correspondent from doing all the behind-the-scenes stuff. What do you have to say about the Kosh design here and the environment suit?
Taylor, what's funny is I will say you sound a lot like JMS because he is on a few of the director's commentaries on the season and stuff like that bugged him where we didn't have space. We did what we could. We just had to get going. I think there definitely weren't room for takes. There are, if I'm trying to do the work for it, the in-show universe, I do think the Vorlons making themselves look less threatening, stealing from the recent Superman that released, that was their argument for why Superman wears trunks. Is Superman is a scary god. Wearing the trunks makes him look a little disarming. So all of these choices by the Vorlon, they are conscious choices. And if it is to say, let's look silly to people so they underestimate us because they are probably the second most powerful being in the universe at this point, or at least our corner of the universe. Outside of that, it's just, a lot of this is first passes. And as the show progresses, they get better at shading it right, lighting it right to look more ominous. And I don't know. I do think the ship is just very 90s when you're like, did they have eyes? I do think that neon green, sleek ship feels straight out of the 90s.
We had only just escaped the grasp of the true neon 80s and I mean, the ship of the coloration itself is like black, kind of amorphizing a neon green, which almost feels like the grunge era.
So a lot going on there. And if Kosh is into grunge, that could be it too, Mike. The rest
I don't know,
I actually do see that.
It's a bit early for grunge.
Like a cameo styled Z Cavaricci's pants type thing. I think Kosh would look good in those too, along with the ship.
And then the other thing that we've started attaching as world building, Mike and I have, is that you're in space. You don't have a lot of stuff. There are people that like cosplaying. So it's you bring up your cosplaying or LARPing outfits and you don't have a lot of alternate clothes. So many of the characters in this show, when they have to come up with a second outfit, it is definitely their cosplay outfit, which is going to happen at least one more time this episode.
That is so funny.
Yeah, you got your casual outfit and you got your cosplay outfit in this world.
Especially because if you think about the purpose of a hat is to protect you from the elements, like the sun and the wind, things that famously not included in a space
Good
station.
point. Yeah, so all it's there for is the fun
So
and
he's
the
literally
fashion.
the only person in the whole station. I mean, in this scene, you see him, he's the only person wearing a hat. And another Sondheim reference, does anybody still wear a hat? I don't think so. And he's already so tall, and the hat itself adds height. So he's this giant man walking around and he really just seems like he's leaning into the, if I just look really conspicuous, they won't even look at me because they'll be like, no way, he's that dumb. It's some sort of charity to let him continue going on pretending to be the head of security at this point. The man is clearly not cut out for this life.
So he just wants to throw his new cosplay character at you. Hey, you guys got to check out my new hat. Now I can be Professor Ghirardelli.
Yeah, this is my homegrown character.
By the way, this, Mike and I have, this is, I think, our 6th or 7th recording. We're starting to get recurring bits. And so guests adding lore to Babylon 5, you are contributing to the Garibaldi is the only person in Babylon 5 that wears a hat. That is an amazing addition. Just chef's kiss. Thank you, Taylor, for nothing else.
I'm so happy. If I contribute nothing else, just that. That's perfect.
For not just the funny hat, but have we noticed the funny coat that Franklin had too?
Yes.
He was wearing a coat, this blue puffy coat that was like 5 sizes too big for him over his regular clothes. Like he was competing for the funniest piece of clothing with Garibaldi, which you can't win that.
Very 90s coded outfit, the puffy coat. Very, if you've seen Sinners, the very after credits scene.
So that I need to catch up.
Oh, I haven't seen Sinners yet.
I am so excited for you guys. That is my Michael, and I saw it in the theater, and we are not really theater people, but are going to see movies in the movie theater people. But he immediately was like, I want to watch that again. We were very tempted to just stay in the theater and watch it a second time immediately after. It's that good.
And Mike, did you get the impression, it did definitely feel like it, that like Garibaldi is both painted as and tries to act as Batman a lot this episode?
Oh, yeah. He jumps right into this is his chance to go and have his Batman episode. And I'm going to get this guy. Yeah, I really got those feelings.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you, you tell me or I'm going to dig your eyes out with the spoon or something. And it's like, you're not intimidating. You're in that hat. No one should be intimidated, but apparently they are.
A hat, a cowl not is.
Yeah.
Also, you say it's a watch, but I heard it's an antique from the 19th, 20th century.
Exactly. Yeah, they definitely did that.
We stretch it. We're like, oh gosh, the 20th century, such antiques. And yet they're still saying phrases and idioms that originate from the 80s, like assembly not required. That would be as if we were reciting like Shakespeare, my mistress sighs or nothing like the sun. Like, it's just, that's just me in the bathroom by myself. Nobody else does it.
Yeah, the anachronisms are so tough to get right with that stuff.
Exactly.
I'm annoyed, actually, you are still adding to the lore. You blame Evan. Go listen to the previous episode, everybody. This is Evan's fault, but you're an amazing guest, Evan. You are adding to the lore that basically space in the future is a bunch of theater kids or a bunch of weebs that went to space. It feels like it. And speak in old-timey...
in space!
They're referencing, like commercials from the 80s. Some assembly required. No way, Jose. That's coming next.
But exactly. So all of these people went to space. They have cosplay outfits. They're basically like speaking in old-timey... This lines up. Babylon 5 is not populated with normal representatives of Earth. And we even have future episodes, Mike. I know you're on season 3. There are a couple that do that. It's all the cosplay nerds that tick people off. Sorry, Taylor, you're adding to it. This easily lines up.
I mean, it makes sense. If the human population is growing exponentially, we're 2025, we're at 8 billion people. We keep growing. It's, the population of Babylon's a tiny percentage of the population on Earth. Yeah, it's going to mostly be the most obnoxious people on the planet who want to do something like this. I don't know if I would want to go to a dinner with a whole bunch of astronauts. I would want to go to dinner with maybe one astronaut and ask them a lot of questions. But if I'm the only not astronaut there, I'm going to be really bummed out. And it feels like the same sort of like very intense energy here.
And that's all the nonsense we got that's fit to drop. Join us next week for a full episode where we cover Season 2, Episode 17, In the Shadow of Za'Ha'Dum with Megan Bushhausen. Cheers, all.